If you just started out mixing and you don't know what to do, this video is for you. I always follow 3 simple steps in order to get the basics of my mix down. The first step is to get the volume levels right. And in order to do so, I use this neat little trick. So what I do is I go to my DAW and I turn all the tracks way down. And then what I like to do is raise the volume of the thing I find most important in the track. In this case, it's the drums, so I'll start by raising them to around -6 dB. And then I like to bring in everything beneath that, always comparing their volume to the drums. So we could bring in the vocals. That's when we forget just who we are. Maybe the guitars. Overthink tomorrow when we're alright. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and alright. The bass. Overthink tomorrow when we're alright. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and alright. That's when you remember who you are. Overthink tomorrow when we're alright. And the chords. Overthink tomorrow when we're alright. That's when we forget just who we are. Make us come together and alright. That's when you remember who you are. If you don't know what is most important in your track and you're unsure of what track to turn up and adjust all levels according to, you can take any song you like, turn it way down low. And then listen to what sounds you can hear. Is it the vocals? Is it the drums? Or maybe just a lead? And then you can start by turning the volume up on those things. And then adjust the rest accordingly. The next step is to equalize. And if you don't know what an equalizer is, it is basically a tool that allows you to adjust the frequency levels of a sound. And frequency is just a fancy word of saying that some sounds contain low-pitched information and high-pitched information. Let's say you have a drum kit. Here you have the low sounds from the kick, but also high sounds from a snare or cymbal. So I made this little animation to show you how I like to equalize. Let me just move away. So if we just listen to the drums, they sound nice and they fill out the entire frequency spectrum, both with the kick and the snare. But if we get tired of listening to these drums, we might bring in another track or another instrument. It could be the bass. And now we have an issue because the bass and the drums are using the same frequencies when they play. In this case, it is the low frequencies and the mid-range. So in order to separate the instruments in our track, we can curve out or bite out a bit of the drums so that the bass sits in its own space. Now we've got our kick and bass, let's bring in the guitars. And guitars tend to take up a lot of space. So in order to give the other instruments a bit of space and to give room to the guitars, we can take some of the lows and highs on the guitars and maybe take a bit of the drums and bass so that the guitars also have their own room. If we then bring in the vocals, they also tend to fill a lot of the frequency spectrum. So in order to give the vocal space, we'll do the same as before. In this case, I've removed the top part of the guitar so that the vocals can sit in that space. And that is basically how I equalize. The third and final step is timing. What I mean by that is not every part of an instrument is playing at every time. Let's take the drums. You don't have a kick playing all the time, all the way through a track, unless maybe it's some sort of Norwegian heavy metal. So we have pockets where the kick isn't playing and maybe the snare isn't playing. And we can use these pockets to fill in our other sounds in order to get a more spacious and lush mix. So in this project, what I did was I played 2 guitar parts. The first sounds like this. And if we listen to that with the drums, we can hear that they both start on the same steps. It is of course possible to work around that, but we could also change the way we play the guitars so that it fits in the pockets where the kick isn't playing. And I did so by playing the off beats. Now the guitar and the kick isn't fighting over the same space. If you don't want to change the way an instrument is played, you can also use what is known as sidechain compression or volume automation. In simple terms, it just means that when the kick hits, the volume of the bass goes down, and when the kick is away, the volume goes up again on the bass. In this case, it sounds like this. This means that the kick and bass isn't fighting over the same frequencies in the low end as well. I did the same with the chords in this track. And I even did it on the reverb channel as well. And that's the way I like to get the basics of my mix right. There are, of course, a lot of different things you can do, but I think if you nail these basics, you're off to a great start. If you want me to dig deeper into what the compressor does or how you can use an equalizer even better, let me know in the comments. That's it for now. If you liked this video, please like it and consider subscribing. Bye bye now.